everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be showing the full process of customizing a Blythe doll. I have improved a lot since my first doll and the dolls I have customized on this channel so far, so I wanted to make an updated version of how I customize them now. Here I have this fake doll from AliExpress, which is what most customizers use as a base. As you can see, the doll comes with a singular pull string on the back of its head and 4 eye colors: gray, blue, brown, and pink. This is what the back of the head looks like. There are 3 screws that fasten the doll's head together, 1 on the top and 2 on the bottom. This doll is super cute and I can't wait to start customizing her. To start off, we will need to disassemble the doll. You will need scissors, a small screwdriver, tweezers, something to pry open the head. Here I am using one of my wood carving blades, but anything with a thin flat surface will do. And finally, something to store all of the screws. I am using this tiny Ziploc bag. First, you will need to take your screwdriver and unscrew the 3 screws on the back plate. The screw on the top is the smallest and thinnest screw, and the bottom 2 should be larger and thicker. Keep this in mind when you are assembling the doll back together later on. After you unscrew, make sure to store these properly so nothing goes missing. These doll parts are very small and can go missing easily if you don't keep track of them. Once you're finished, place the doll on its side on a very soft surface like a cushion and press down on the side of its head until you see the gap between the faceplate and the backplate opening. Take whatever tool you are using to pry it open and push it in between the gap and maneuver it forward and backward until the head pops open. Then you can use your hands to take apart the faceplate and the backplate. When it comes apart, you should see a spring holding the 2 together and the pull string inside. You will now take your scissors and cut the pull string as we no longer need it. Then you will have to pull apart the screw from the backplate and eye mechanism until it comes off cleanly. Now you can remove the rest of the pull string from the eye mech with your tweezers and dispose of the screw and the pull string. Next, you are going to take your screwdriver and unscrew this screw right here attached to the white T-bar and then place it in your storage afterwards. You can also take your screwdriver to pry off the T-bar from the faceplate, but make sure you absolutely do not lose this T-bar as it is the most important component of the eye mechanism. Without this white T-bar, your eye mech will not work properly and the eyes won't change color. The last screw is in the back above the eye mech and it can be hard to reach, so don't worry if it takes some time to unscrew this. What I personally like to do is to unscrew it halfway and then remove the scalp so that it is much easier to unscrew. And of course, place this screw in your storage as well. It should be the easiest to identify because it is the only screw with a domed head. Now you're going to take out the eyes by firmly holding onto one eyeball with 2 fingers and using your other hand to gently pull the faceplate until the eyes come out. The eye mechanism should look like this. Next, you are going to take out the eyeballs from the eyelids by using your tweezers to pry the eyelids off until this white cylindrical end is exposed. You can now separate the eyeballs from the rod holding them together and then reattach them like so. You can also pull off the eyelashes from the eyelids if you are planning to replace them with new falsies, which I usually like to do. We are going to sand and carve the faceplate and the backplate. This is the most challenging step of customization, so don't be afraid to make mistakes and remember that patience is key. You will need the faceplate and the backplate of your doll, of course, sandpaper ranging from 400 to 2000 grit, an optional water spray bottle to mitigate all of the dust and plastic particles that accumulate during the step, a K95 face mask or respirator, wood carving tools, and an optional nail drill that will help speed up some parts of the carving process. You will start off with the faceplate and cut out a piece of 400 or 600 grit sandpaper, starting from the lowest grit and working your way up to 2000 grit. You can take the spray bottle and spray some water over the face before sanding if you are worried about the particles. Then you will slowly start sanding the face until the glossy finish is gone. This process is the most tedious part of customizing and can take a while, especially since you are going to be using multiple types of sandpaper, so don't rush and take your time. Make sure to periodically spray water if you see the particles drying up and turning into dust. You also want to make sure you can sand as much of the crevices as possible. It can be tricky to get into all of the crevices, so you can fold your sandpaper or cut smaller pieces. Now, you can use the sandpaper ranging from 1000 to 1500 grit, and here I am using 1200 grit. Repeat the process and cut out a piece of sandpaper, carefully sanding away the glossy areas and scratches. Now we are going to use 2000 grit sandpaper. This will fully smooth out the texture of the face and get rid of large scratches remaining on the face. Though you should keep in mind that a darker skin doll like this may still appear a bit scratchy and dusty after sanding. This is normal and will go away after we spray the faceplate with MSC. This is what the faceplate should look like after sanding. Next, we are going to move on to the backplate. This will be much simpler as it is just a flat surface. You will repeat the process, spraying bits of water and starting off with lower grit sandpaper and moving up to 2000 grit over time. This is what my faceplate and backplate look like after the sanding process. Now we are going to start carving. This is optional, but I took a watercolor pencil and outlined the shape of the lips I want to carve. You will take either a nail drill or one of the wood carving tools and begin carving the lips. I like to start off with the sides to really help shape the lips, but you can start anywhere you'd like. Here, I changed the attachment of my nail drill to a thinner one for carving the finer details. For the nose, I like to flatten the tip because factory Blythes have very pointy upturned noses. I take my nail drill and start drilling into the tip and rounding everything out later. For the nostrils, I take my wood carving tool that has a pointy blade and start carving out the holes. I just twist it back and forth until the plastic is carved out. Here is what the finished nose looks like. I went back into the lips with my wood carving tool and carved out some more details like lip lines. You want to be extremely careful with the carving tools because they can easily leave deep scratches that can be super difficult to smooth out with sandpaper. Remember to be patient with the carving process to avoid mistakes. Here, I went back in with the nail drill to smooth out any imperfections caused by carving. When you are finished carving, go back in with 2000 grit sandpaper to finish smoothing out the imperfections, especially around the lips. Make sure to spray water again when it gets dry and dusty. Here is what the final sanded and carved face looks like. I think it came out super cute and I can't wait to do the face up. When you are finished, make sure to wipe down your workstation with a wet paper towel or cloth to clean any excess particles left behind. They can be very harmful to breathe in and you wouldn't want any left over. You will then begin to clean your faceplate and backplate with soap and water to get rid of any leftover dust and dirt on them. Make sure to pat them dry afterwards with a cloth or paper towel. Now we are going to spray and seal them as a base coat. You will need to put on latex gloves for this part as well as a respirator and goggles. We will be using our Mr. Super Clear UV Cut Matte Spray, which is extremely toxic, so we need to take our safety measures. Spray the faceplate about half a foot away from the can so it is lightly coated like this and place it in a cardboard box. Do the same for the backplate. For the face up, you will need watercolor pencils, soft pastels, makeup brushes of varying sizes, and a palette of some sort to separate the colors. Here are the faceplate and backplate after being fully dried. You should wait about 15 minutes to an hour to let them fully dry before doing the face up. Starting off with the face, I am going in with a small brush and adding pink pigment to the lips. Brush the pigment onto the lips and it will stain them like this, similar to how regular makeup is applied. Here I am going in with a lighter pink to add some dimension to the lips. You can vacuum off the extra makeup dust or blow it off gently in order to avoid smearing the pigments everywhere. Next, I am going to add some dark brown around the chin to create dimension like a shadow. I am going to do the same around the nose. Here, I am going to use pink for the cheeks to imitate blush. Make sure to spread it out evenly with your makeup brush and vacuum away any extra dust. If you feel the blush is too pigmented, you can take a damp paper towel and blot off some of the pink to give her a more subtle blush. I am going to repeat this process with the blush on the nose. Now I am using a brown watercolor pencil for the freckles. I sharpened it first and then began carefully drawing on the freckles like this. Here is what they look like when I'm finished. For the eyeshadow, I am using a larger brush and adding some pink around the eyes, vacuuming away the extra dust when needed. For the eyeliner, I am taking a black watercolor pencil and drawing it carefully around the eyes. I tried to keep them even on both eyes, but it turned out really cute. Here, I just went back and added more pink to the lips since I thought the lip color was too dark. Now, for the eyebrows, I am taking a dark brown watercolor pencil and carefully drawing on the shape and outline of what I want the brows to look like. I personally like the eyebrows on my dolls to be a little higher up because it makes them look cuter and more friendly. Once I am finished, I fill in the eyebrows with little hairs that mimic the growth direction of natural eyebrows. If you guys really want to take your eyebrows to the next level, I recommend studying eyebrow mapping techniques that cosmetology professionals use. Here's what the finished brows look like. There are a few mistakes, but you can sand them away or use water and a tissue or Q-tip to wipe them off. I like to add some contour to the temples of the doll, so I go in with a dark brown and blend it in the corners of the faceplate. I use a tissue to wipe off any extra pigment if I feel they're too dark. For the back plate, I wanted to draw a flower since the doll is based on a gardener. I used a light gray pencil to outline the shape, and I looked at some reference photos for drawing the center of the flower with yellow and brown pencils. For the petals, I went in with pinks and purples to color everything in. I used a green pencil for drawing the stem and some brown for the details and for adding some dimension. Here, I did the same for the leaves. Since this doll is being released with a collection, I took a pink pencil and wrote down the name of the collection and my signature on top of the back plate. After spraying these two with another coat of MSC, we are finished with the face and back. I think they turned out super cute and I'm very proud of how far I've come with these. For the eye mechanism, you are going to, of course, need your eyeballs, eyelids, and all of these supplies here. You will need blank eye chips, which you can purchase in bulk from AliExpress. You will also need to print out pairs of your eye chip designs and cut them out like this. These will have to be 2 millimeters wide in diameter, and make sure you are printing these at full scale so they are not too small or too large. Since these dolls have 4 pairs of eyes, I designed my own eye chips based on her whole theme of florals and pinks. You can skip these steps if you want to keep the doll's existing eye chips, but I like to customize the eyes. Next, this is optional, but I have these nail art stickers for decorating the eyelids. They are super cute and easy to stick on, so if you want cool and complex designs for the eyelids, I highly recommend purchasing some. You will also need super glue for gluing on the eye chips, optional clear gel polish if you want your doll's eyelids to have a glossy finish, a hot glue gun for taking off the existing eye chips, hot glue sticks, optional gel nail polish, fake eyelashes or eyelash clusters, acetone for cleaning up nail polish messes, a UV gel lamp, and 0.8mm string. To take out the existing eye chips, you will need to use a hot glue stick to pry them off. I like to cut mine down to avoid wasting glue. You can use a hot glue gun like the one I have here, or a lighter to melt the ends of the glue sticks. Then you will stick them firmly onto the eye chips. I remove them 4 at a time like this. Once your glue is fully dry, pull on the glue stick and the eyes should come out easily like this. Repeat this step with all of the eye chips you want to remove. Once you are finished pulling out all of the eyes, your eye mech should look like this, a completely clean slate. Next, you will need your printed eyes and 8 clear eye chips. Take some of your clear gel polish and dab some on each of the eyes like this. Then you will take an eye chip, place it flat side down onto the eye design, and press down into the polish until you smooth it out around the circles. Make sure to also line up the eye chip with the eye design. You will then place this under the UV gel lamp and let it cure for about a minute. Once it is finished, you can take it out from under the lamp and start cutting out the circles. Be very careful with this part so you don't accidentally cut off too much. Repeat these steps with the rest of your eye chips. Here are what my final eye chips look like. I think they came out super cute with the floral designs. When adding in the eye chips, make sure that the smaller white rotating mechanism is on the left, like this. Take your super glue and start applying it to the other edges of the eye chip. You can use the applicator to spread it around as well. Then, take your eye chip and place it carefully into the eye socket, pressing down firmly to make sure it's all the way in. Do the same for the rest of the eye chips. Your finished eyes should now look something like this. The eyelids should be very simple. Just take the gel polish and paint it on in thin, even coats. When it is finished, take some of the nail stickers and place them on carefully with either your fingers or some tweezers. The eyelids should now look like this after adding the nail stickers. You are then going to go over everything with the clear gel top coat, being careful to paint in thin, even strokes like we did with the color polish. When you're finished adding the top coat, place it under the UV lamp to cure for about a minute. Now we are going to add the fake lashes. Use your tweezers to remove them from the packaging and very carefully add some glue to the base of the lash cluster. Make sure not to add too much or else it will end up globby and messy. Then carefully place the cluster in the gap between the eyelids and it will sit there and dry on its own. Repeat this step again with the rest of the eyelash clusters until they fill the entire gap. Do the same for the other side. Apply some glue to the lash cluster and stick it inside the gap very carefully with the tweezers. When you are finished, the eyelids should look something like this. You can press the lashes upward if you would like them to look more curled. To install the eyeballs back into the eyelids, take apart the eyes and insert the thinner part of the rod through the hole in the middle of the eye mechanism. The eyeball with the white disc goes into the left socket like this. Push it in until it is fully inserted. Then, insert the cylindrical end into the tiny socket at the side. Do the same for the right eyeball. You can always use tweezers if you were having trouble inserting the eyes. Finally, we are finished with the eyes. They should look like this, rotating between the 4 eye settings. For the hair, you will need to fill up either your sink or a large basin with very hot water. The hot water will help get rid of any grease and shine on the hair to make it look more natural. When you are done filling the basin with water, add some fabric softener to the water and mix it around with your fingers or something else if the water is too hot. This will keep the hair soft and detangled. Then, dunk the scalp with the hair into the mixture. I used a hairbrush to dunk in any hair that was still floating on top because the water was too hot to touch with my hands. Make sure all of the hair is submerged in the water before you let it soak. When your hair is finished soaking, take it out by the scalp and drain all of the water. Take some dish soap and pour a very tiny bit over the hair, as this will help get rid of any hair grease. You can then start shampooing the hair with the dish soap, and as you can see, it foams pretty easily, so make sure you're not adding too much of it. When you finish shampooing everything, rinse it off with cool water. Let the hair dry on a towel and make sure to also dry off any water in or around the domed scalp. The hair should take a while to dry, so feel free to do something while you wait. It can take hours to dry if you don't use a blow dryer or a fan. Once it is dry or close to dry, use a comb or brush to brush through any knots in the hair. This will help detangle and defrizz the hair. Here is everything from the faceplate to the eye mechanism. We are going to put together these two first by simply inserting the eyes into the side slots of the faceplate. Now we are going to assemble the eye mechanism with a 0.8mm string and a hot glue gun. Cut 2 pieces of string about less than a foot long, and you're going to carefully insert one through the opening at the top of the eye mechanism. Next, you're going to tie 2 to 3 knots with the string to ensure the string stays in place. You can cut off the excess string with scissors when you are finished. You can do the same with the second string, this time threading it through the opening at the bottom. Make sure to tie enough knots so that the string doesn't get pulled through the openings. I like to do this for extra security because sometimes the strings aren't entirely secure when you tie them, so I take some hot glue and apply it to the knots, essentially gluing the knots to the openings. I think it could be very helpful to do this, especially if you're selling a doll, to ensure the eye mechanism doesn't break if your string isn't secure. When you're finished, you're going to go back to the screws you put away when assembling the doll and take out the white T-bar. I like to bend the end of the T-bar inward to make sure the eye mechanism works properly for a prolonged period of time like this. This part is optional, but I like to take some sandpaper, preferably lower grit like 500 to 1000, and start sanding the end of the T-bar to my desired length. This will correct the gaze of your doll's eyes and make them look less startled. You shouldn't sand off too much or else the eye mechanism won't work. The ideal length to sand off is about 1 to 2 millimeters, so make sure you're periodically checking as you sand. When you're finished, pop the T-bar back into the socket right under the eyes and take the screw from the disassembly process and screw it back in to secure the T-bar. Now, we are going to assemble the rest of the body. You will need your screws, of course, your screwdriver, your assembled faceplate and backplate, the Blythe body, and the scalp with the dried hair. Take your faceplate and screw on the screw with the domed head, but only partially. Then, take the scalp and wedge it in between the screw and the faceplate like this, making sure everything lines up. You can now take your screwdriver and screw it in all the way until it is secure. Now, take the body and wedge the neck into the faceplate like this. Take the string on the top and thread it through the circular opening on the backplate and the other string through the rectangular opening right next to it. Push the backplate and faceplate together until everything is lined up. When everything is almost closed, place the doll on its side and push down on the faceplate until this small rectangular piece snaps into place with the backplate, and do the same for the other side. Your doll should now be assembled like this. Before we add the pull strings, we need to screw the 3 screws back onto the back plate. Remember, the smallest and thinnest screw goes on top and the other 2 go on the bottom. Now that we have our 2 empty pull strings, we can start decorating them with beads. I'm going to use this set of white beads and this set of pink ones to match our theme. This part is fairly simple, just use whatever color you'd like and thread the beads onto the pull strings. You can make these strings as long or as short as you want depending on how many beads you use. I like to interchange them from color to clear like a cute little pattern. When you are finished, make a knot with the strings like we did with the eye mechanism. Also, make sure to leave a sizable gap at the top of the pull strings between the faceplate and the first bead, or else the eye mechanism won't work. Repeat this process with the second pull string. You can be as creative as possible with this step. I see a lot of artists use different charms and beads, and they always turn out so cute and personable. This is what my pull strings look like after finishing. Now, I also like to go in with hot glue at the knots for extra security like before. I just apply a little bit to the top of the knot and attach it to the last bead, and then cut off the extra string at the end. And this is the final finished product of my doll. It was so fun to make her, and she is definitely one of my favorites so far. I hope you guys enjoyed this in-depth tutorial on customizing a doll. It is definitely not an easy process, but you will get the hang of it with more practice. It is very easy to mess up these dolls, so make sure you are patient with your craft. Then again, these dolls are hand customized, so remember that small mistakes are absolutely okay and that we are all human at the end of the day. I wanted to make this video to help any new customizers wanting to gain more knowledge on customizing. I know many tutorials on YouTube don't encompass the process from start to finish, so I hope this video was helpful to a lot of you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you liked this video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more doll videos like these, and please follow my TikTok and Instagram to keep up with my doll making. I also have a website now where you can purchase my dolls. Everything will be linked in the description, including where I got all of my supplies. Thank you for supporting me and this channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!